Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. So should you or shouldn't you go with a pedal drive kayak in 2024 and beyond? I was asked my thoughts recently by Jay with Bearded Dad Fishing here on YouTube, and he recently put out a video, which I'll link here on the end screen of this video, and kind of asked me if I would do a video to respond to it, where he went over 5 reasons why pedal drives are not relevant today. And on the flip side of that, I'm going to go over in this video 5 reasons why you should consider a pedal drive kayak over a motorized option. So let's get things started. Okay, so just starting out, I'm not here to tell you which way you should or shouldn't go necessarily, but just some things to think about when you're looking at choosing whether it be a pedal drive kayak or going to the motorized option. So hopefully these 5 reasons that I'm giving you can kind of give you the flip side of Jay's video and maybe some things to think about, because again, pedal drive kayaks may still be the best option for you and what you need your kayak to do. So number 5 I'm going to go with is it's a more turnkey. In other words, it's ready. Minimal rigging is needed. You're literally, as soon as you walk out of the paddle shop, you can throw it in the water, you're good to go. No thoughts about motor mounts, wiring, fuse blocks, batteries, anything like that. Just you in the water, you're ready to fish. All you need is a fishing pole and some tackle. And another thing about pedal drives is there's a little bit more price variety because they've just been around for longer as far as pedal drive specific kayaks. Motorization is kind of the new thing, and I say new within the last, probably 3 or 4 years, but you're really starting to see an uptick in the innovation. Pedal drives have been around for a while. It's been copied. It's been, we live in a copycat business, really. Anywhere from $1,200 to $1,300 and up to about $6,000. Not saying everybody needs a $6,000 range, but you do have a little bit more of a price variance. You may not need all the bells and whistles, so some of the cheaper options may be best for you and what you're needing this thing to do. So number 4 is going to be, for me, instant reverse. And this is something, and full disclosure, I'm motorized myself. My wife is in a pedal drive kayak, and we kind of like them for both different reasons. The one thing that I probably miss more than anything is instant reverse. This is one reason that I hear a lot of people that have gone from pedal drive to motor is that instant reverse option. It's just one of those things where maybe you didn't know you needed it until it was gone. And that's kind of me right now, is having that instant reverse is definitely a plus. Even with, say, Hobie's fin drive here, just pulling a tab, you're in reverse instead of pushing a button. Some people just like the simplicity of that. Also, the instant reverse is really, in my opinion, what caused the pedal drive market to take off so rapidly. In my opinion, also kind of what causes pedal drives to still be relevant today. And I'm talking about prop drives, mainly here, but just reversing your pedal stroke, and then you're obviously going backwards. So think of you're hooking into a fish, you've got that hook set in, pedaling that backwards is going to work with you instead of working against you. Number 3, and this is another thing that's kind of a hot topic with a lot of people, and with pedal drives, there is less need to worry about weight capacity. So you're not having to worry about carrying all of this additional gear. And again, I'm talking about, the motors, the batteries, all the extra gear. It's just you and your tackle, your fishing rods and reels, your tackle, your bait, yourself. That's all you really need to worry about with a pedal drive kayak. That does a couple of different things for you. 1, it's keeping you as far away from that weight capacity as you can get. And 2, if you're not taking a whole lot of gear, it kind of lends you the option to go with a lighter setup. So there are some lightweight kayaks out there. Think about the Hobie Passport, a lot of, the Hobie Lynx. You have some Pelican brands now that do fin drives. You've got some lighter, you don't need that really heavy duty kayak or boat, as we like to say in some cases. You can go with a lighter setup, so that can lend you to some different variety in the market there. So number 2, and this is kind of a tricky one, but it's more versatile. So what I mean by that is Obviously with a pedal drive kayak, now in the case of say Jackson Kayak or even Old Town to an extent, your drives do kick up. So if you do hit something, it will kick up into the boat, or in Jackson's case, kick up to a shallower depth. Not all kayaks do that, not all pedal drives do that, but it gives you a little bit more versatility. There are still bodies of water that are non-motor. So in other words, if you got a motor, you're not allowed on that water. Pedal drives, you can still get on that water. Some tournaments, and I'm talking about mainly local tournaments, may not allow motors either, just to make it fairness. Now, I'm not talking about KBF, I'm not talking about, you know, the Bass Open Series that Hobie does. Those allow motors. I see that transitioning in the future to being, you know, motors being allowed across the board. But if you're just someone that just likes to fish competitively locally, just kind of you and some buddies getting together, you know, some of those groups may not allow your motor options. And also it kind of allows you to go with a more simpler setup, and that might be the reason that got you into kayak fishing to begin with. I know a lot of people that, you know, wanted to do kayak fishing. They wanted something simpler. They didn't want a boat and the motors and all the electronics. They just wanted to kind of get to a simple setup, being one with the water, so to speak. But that might be, you know, what got you into it, but you might see yourself kind of going toward that more complicated setup. There's nothing wrong with that, but some people kind of see themselves moving and then they hit the brakes and then they go back. Pedal drives kind of allow you to get the versatility of moving, covering ground, but not the complicated nature that maybe a motor brings you there. Number one, and again, just my opinion, the number one reason pedal drives are still relevant today is, hey everybody, I wanted to talk about today's video sponsor, and that's Lithium Battery. What you see behind me here, this is the 12 volt, 100 amp hour battery that I've been using all year on my Motor Guide XI3, and I've got it hooked up to their 14.6 volt, 20 amp charger. You can check all these products on their website. I'll leave a link in the description down below. You can use code PADDLER to save 5%. And as always, shipping is free. They run sales periodically as well, so definitely be on the lookout for that. And they're constantly coming out with new products. So check them out, and let's get back to the video, guys. Motors can get pricey, and I know, and Jay made a really good point on his video, is if you're in the right setup, you can spend less money on your buying the paddle kayak and converting it into motor. So a lot of people, I feel like when they're getting into the motor setups, they're just thinking of the kayak and the motor. You're not thinking about what motor plate do I need, what gauge wiring do I need, the inline fuse, what lithium battery. Now, lithium batteries have really come a long ways on competitively pricing. You've also got to get the charger, the proper charger for it. You want something that has a little bit more capability on it. Those can get pricey as well. You can find yourself spending a lot more money than you originally intended on doing. And what happens is, you know, I call it the keeping up with the Joneses. And a lot of you probably know what I'm talking about on this. You saw maybe someone on YouTube. Shoot, it may even been me on the water with a motor set up, and I'm going around, I'm catching fish, I'm doing all kinds of stuff. I'm covering a lot of ground, and I'm talking about how much I love it. This can cause a lot of people to kind of follow suit, if you will. If they see something that looks really cool and it's in their budget, they can afford to do so, they're gonna do so. But then you see, go on Facebook Marketplace and see the used kayaks. It's inevitable, you're gonna see somebody that really went all out on a setup and they're trying to now to get $8,000 out of a kayak motor build that they just did. Nothing wrong with that again, but these are usually people that might have saw something that looked neat, wanted to replicate it, and then before they realize that they've gone too far, or, you know, at least for their needs, it's just, the boat hasn't even gotten wet. You rigged yourself out of the water, so to speak. So that's something I would definitely caution you on, no matter what direction you go to. And keep in mind too, you can, just like you can the paddle kayak, you can rig your pedal drive incrementally. So today you may like the pedal drives. It's always a good idea to, if you're going pedal drive, go with a pedal drive that you can rig a motor to, because your needs can change over time. And a lot of people do use your pedal drives as a secondary propulsion. So say you get a malfunction in your motor, anything can happen. It could be something simple as a loose connection, and maybe you don't want to carry a toolbox with you everywhere you go. Some of these motorized kayaks can get you into a spot you don't want to be in, so where you don't want to paddle that thing around. sometimes it's nice to have that secondary propulsion of a pedal drive as a backup in case your motor goes out. Does this give you a higher price range? Absolutely, because you're paying for that pedal drive before you even start doing your motor. And again, everything I talked about, the plates, the wiring, batteries, the whole nine, plus you got to worry about, is your weight capacity enough to where it's going to carry you, your gear, your pedal drive, your motors, your battery, all of that. You can kind of see how that starts to snowball on you after a while too. So something to keep in mind. It can get pricey, but it doesn't have to with a pedal drive kayak. Okay, so closing up, I wanted to talk about a couple things to consider. So obviously, motors are going to allow you to cover the most amount of ground most efficiently. So again, I'm talking about more coverage, less energy. You're not using your body to propel yourself. You're essentially going back to boat, but maybe not going all the way over that line. And that may be what puts you into the motor category over the pedal drive category. But with a pedal drive, you're still using your body to, it's just your legs are going to be stronger than your arms and your shoulders. You're going to be able to, again, cover ground more efficiently than paddling, but maybe you don't want to go all the way over into the motorboat category. Of course, I think that pedal drives are still relevant today. They will be for quite some time. So if you just bought that pedal drive, don't panic. It's not that you made the wrong decision, but for those of you that maybe you think you want to go back into the motorized category, or maybe you've never been in the motorized category before and you think that's for you. Just knowing how much ground you want to cover and how long you want to do it is ultimately going to tell you which direction you need to go. The most important thing is having those conversations with yourself about where you see this going for you in the future, not just today. If you're having too many conversations with yourself, like me, seek help. In all seriousness though, you definitely don't want to be one of those guys that has just gone over the edge and put $8,000 to $10,000 or higher into one kayak and then decided afterwards it's just not really for you. And then you see these things on Facebook Marketplace. They're trying to get all this money back out of this build, and it's not going to be there for them. So I just hate to see that. I want you to be in the kayak that you're going to use, whether it be a $500 kayak or a $5,000 kayak. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. Let me know which direction you go and why, or which direction you're leaning and why. I'm going to link Jay's video up here up top. Check his video out to kind of give the other side of this argument and conversation. But as always, thanks for coming by, and we'll see you on the next video.